What's going on, guys? The Truckers for Freedom protest has reached peak levels of hilariousness I didn't think possible. Canada has declared a state of emergency because the protesters are now deploying bouncy castles. That's right, the kids can jump up and down on inflated castles. So, 3 straight weeks of this. Now, what's funny is that if you remember back on Reddit and on Twitter, before this whole thing started, everybody was driving up there. They downplayed it a lot. Oh, it's not going to be that big of a deal. It's not going to be that many people. A fringe protest. It's going to be a fringe protest. Barely inconvenience anybody. Not a big deal. Well, here we are now, 3 weeks later, and it appears to be growing. There appears to be more people driving up there or starting their own protests. Like I think Paris, France has one going on now. There's rumors of one starting in the U.S. So obviously, this is way more successful than many thought it would be, including me. To be honest, if you'd asked me 3 weeks ago if this thing would still be going as strong as it is, I would have told you no, just because it's cold up there, and surely people are going to get sick and tired of being out in the cold. But funnily enough, not only are the protesters still there, they're thriving. This is not. It's hard to even really call them brave or courageous for protesting, because the whole thing seems like a big party. Every YouTube live stream I watch, it's somebody walking around either eating free food, throwing a football, grilling. Everybody's having a blast. I mean, there's people that have hot tubs, jacuzzis, bouncy castles. I don't know. It seems like a fun time. It seems like the protest meta has now evolved. If you want to have a successful protest, just make sure everybody's eating good and having a good time, and your protest will never die, apparently. I mean, who the fuck wants to be out in the cold up in Canada? But these guys are seemingly having a good time with it. So, I highly recommend, if you're interested in this whole situation up in Canada, go on YouTube and look up live streams. You're gonna have to filter it to search for live whatever. But look at live streams from actual people there. Don't look at the news. If you look at the CNN coverage of this, they are making these people out to be terrorists. The same people that are grilling hot dogs and jumping in bouncy castles are terrorists. So, yeah, it's crazy. So what's really funny is that the locals are supporting the protests and just bringing them diesel fuel, food, sneaking it in. The police are trying to seize the diesel fuel from people trying to sneak it in. So the response to that was everybody is now carrying around a can of diesel fuel, some of them filled with water, some of them decoys, some of them empty, but everyone's got a can of diesel fuel. And can they check everybody? No. Is this one real? Is this one fake? People are bringing it in with baby carriages and shit. It's hilarious. It's genuinely a real life meme. And the fucking craziest thing about all of this is, think about what their demands truly are. Think about what they want. They're not asking for anything crazy. They just literally want what they had 2 years ago. That's it. It's not like they're asking for something they've never had. No, it's just we want shit back to normal. It's kind of crazy. And I think there's a lot of obviously, a lot of this is due to the vaccine mandates, and there are a lot of people that do not have the vaccine, that do not want to get the vaccine, and do not like the vaccine mandates. But a lot of people, this is more of a protest of government overreach. A lot of people that are protesting are vaccinated. I watched a few interviews where they were asking people about the vaccines, and a lot of the people have the vaccine, but they're more protesting about the overreach and the mandates and just the continual overreach of government, to be honest, worldwide. This is not just a Canadian problem, a U.S. problem. This is happening all over the world. We have tons of little tyrants out there that love this newfound government crisis mode overreach. It's kind of crazy. And with this Canadian trucker protest in particular, what's so funny about it is that many of the people that could tow these trucks away are on the side of the truckers. So dealing with these truckers and towing them out, even if the truckers were compliant, even if towing one of these trucks when you want to get towed, if it breaks down, is difficult. It's hard to do it when you want to do it, much less with all these cars strategically, placed to make it impossible to tow. Then you have them taking their tires off, and in general, it's going to be really hard to get these trucks to move without the people moving them. I was reading a giant Reddit thread from a guy that runs a tow company, basically saying that even with full compliance, this would be very difficult to deal with. Not even factoring in, people sabotaging, taking the wheels off their trucks and all that stuff. So that's where we're at with that. Now, one thing, it's been 3 weeks. We've had a big 3-week protest with tons of people that don't have the vaccines, are very close together, and aren't wearing masks. Shouldn't we all be dying? Like, shouldn't this protest be over because they should all be dead? Right? They're not socially distancing. They're unvaccinated. They're not, where's the death? Like, why are they not all dead? I don't know. I don't get it. It must be, God must be on their side. It must be that. So, what's interesting is that the Canadian truckers are honestly doing the world a bit of a favor, because if you're paying attention to global politics, a lot of European countries are just lifting their mandates, just lifting them, just like, we're done, no masks, no whatever, all the mandates getting lifted around the world, including a lot of states in the United States. Virginia just did some gangster shit and lifted a whole bunch of their mandates, finally, my home state. So the winds are changing. That's the thing. So while the Canadian truckers may not get their way, or I hope they do, but even if they don't get exactly what they want, they're kind of doing the world a service, because they are. It's showing many government leaders that the winds are changing, and that this might not be the hill to die on. So with all that being said, there are some victims of this protest. Look, it genuinely does suck for people that are having their jobs and businesses affected by the bridges being blocked and the interstates being fucked up. That does suck. There are some victims to this, but to be honest, man, the government has been fucking with people's livelihood for the last 2 years. So it does suck for these auto workers and people that are in these industries where they need that back and forth trade. But it is what it is. It sucks, but I'd be curious to know how many of them are almost okay with it, if the ends justify the means. But, anyway, let me know what you guys think of the Canadian trucker protest. I think this is hilarious. I didn't think that they would be thriving quite as well as they are. I highly recommend that you go on YouTube and look up some live streams of these convoy protests, of people actually there, because it really doesn't seem like there's a lot of struggle. It really seems like it's a big party. Everybody's tailgating, eating some good food, and having a good time. So we'll see how long that lasts. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.